Well, here we are again. I've got my 2038R toolbox. The whole thing's the toolbox, although it drives me to the job site, so maybe worth the money in this aspect. Looks like I nicked my board a little bit too. Didn't think I got that close. And there's a goat head. Hey, goat head. Goat head. Meh. That must have scared her. Not lucky though. Definitely not lucky. Anyway, so we're up here today and we're gonna finish this barn roof. I wanted to make sure that everything had a chance to glue in there real good. We do have screws in it as well, of course, but a lot of strength in the glue. I use some really good stuff usually. And we're nice and leveled out too. We made sure that we don't have single points of failure and the ability for a lot of this to flex. I want to flex a little bit, but mostly up here, because my vision for this, which my brother has been helping me to realize, is a kind of an interesting shed design, rather than put the thing together and throw like a lean-to roof over the top of it and be done, which I could have probably done a year ago. I wanted to do kind of a cutesy barn type roof. Gambrel, I guess is what it's called, or I'm pretty sure I've pronounced it one of the right ways in all of my different videos. But so what I want to do is, clearly you can see that it would go this direction. Here's the scaffolding, which I also spaced on the name of, and there's the other one. I want to do at least 3. This isn't it's not a really, really long roof, and we don't get snow here, although we do get wind. So one of the things I want to make sure that I do is, by the way, that's temporary, in case you're worried about that. I almost never get comments on my videos, so it's probably fine. But yeah, I want to do these guys. I've got one for the middle, which will come down right in here somewhere, and then obviously I got the other one on the other side. That's where the similarities to a normal barn roof are going to stop. I actually don't intend on covering this up with wood. We don't get a lot of rain here, and if we do, it's pretty heavy, but for a very short period of time. What I'd like to do is, do a standard roof over the top of it, but leave this as like a fenced type wire in. Perhaps we've even kind of been talking about it. Maybe do like a goat type, like heavy duty fence over this side here, and then right here I'm actually going to do chicken wire and the other fence, probably goat type fence, some thicker square fencing on this side, and then chicken wire on this side, and leave that open up until the very first scaffolding right here. And that would allow me to put cross members this direction back to forth here for all the chickens to roost on. And what that'll do for me is, most of the chickens that we have here, they poop all the time, but the primary time that they poop is while they're asleep. They just keep on pooping, and I've got some really good evidence that my chickens are very fond of doing that. And so what I want to do is put their roosts over this, leave this open except for the fencing so that they can't escape and nothing can get in here. And then this area right here will be like almost like a chicken patio, and I will treat it as if this is the roof. I'm gonna shingle it in or figure something else out to that effect, and then these are actually going to get cut off. I'm going to leave the supports, for example, right there. Those are going to stay in place, but the wood's going to come off, and over here as well. And then I've actually got plumbing on the other side, and what I want to do is wash the droppings off one way or the other. And if I have to put a kind of an angle on it, that's just fine by me. And what I may do is I may tap in here and give myself a automatic waterer, and I've got some pipe with with holes drilled in it that would go all the way to the corner here. I put an angle on it like this, and I can just wash that chicken poop right off automatically with a timer hose. And we'll see how that works, or if I'll even get that far. I've actually got almost all the pieces to do that, so I'm not super worried about whether or not that's going to work or not. I do need to buy probably a little bit more PEX. I've started off with PVC, doing a lot of the stuff that I've done, remodeled my kitchen, run water out to the shed that's hundreds of feet from a water source normally, and just out and about, I've gotten pretty effective with the PVC. And even though it's cheaper to do PVC if you're going to do a lot of connections and stuff, it's not as good as PEX is for a lot of the other factors. And I will end up needing to do PVC on this that I know of, because it's not like I'm going to put a soaker hose on this. It's actually going to need to have some pressure behind it, which is not a problem. I've turned my pressure up going this direction quite a bit, so that should work. The question is, am I going to wash poop all over my goats? And so that's one of the things that I'm going to have to look at pretty heavily. I don't want water to seep down inside this thing while I'm doing that, so I need to figure that whole situation out before I get too excited. And then the other side here, we're going to have another one of these guys up, probably this one, this guy here. This wood that's kind of reddish has sat in my garage for so long, probably through an entire summer, that it is extremely hard, and it has a very low moisture content, which meant that running screws into this thing was something of a nightmare. It wanted to crack all apart while we did it, and that was kind of the catalyst for putting these guys up instead of I do have plywood to do these are called gussets. I've got a bunch of pieces of plywood that I could have done that with, but we wanted something really, really strong, because I don't know if anybody out there has ever seen the Tacoma Narrows Bridge that was built in the 50s and 60s, but wind became a primary factor in that thing, and I have every reason to believe that if I leave this guy open and I leave this guy open, the wind's going to go through, but it's also going to try to lift this thing right off of the roof. And so I need to make sure that these guys are very solidly stacked on there. And I actually brought screws big enough to go down through this thing and 6 inches into that board beneath it. And we'll see if I can think of a good way to do that where I'm not attacking the same area with a bunch of different screws. And we'll have some time. I don't think that it's going to be super bad. We do get windstorms out here that are pretty bad, but we do have some blocking from trees. I ended up needing to cut that one off because it kind of curled over the top, and at the time I wasn't going to stand on top of this board. Well, I actually rather have my brother stand on top of this board and cut just a couple of limbs off. So that guy's there, but then we do have this nice big oak tree in the back, and oddly we are getting wind from this direction today. Almost all of the wind that we get is usually this direction and straight through the chicken house, so there might be something to that, possibly just because I'm kind of up high. Here's my distance to ground, I guess. Winnie, what are you doing, Winnie? Oh gosh, so that's that stuff that just looks like somebody threw a bunch of sticks there. That's actually the branch that was right here, which is kind of interesting because we cut this guy right here, and it turned out that this was also attached to the limb. The limb forked and then came back together like that. I thought that was pretty interesting. But my goats really like oak leaves. They love them. So that thing has been completely denuded. Man, I always mess that word up. Denuded. There we go. And on the other side, same situation. They love trees. My goats are all about team trees. In fact, they're over there seeing if there's any morsels left. So it's kind of interesting that they do that. I need to get a lot more goats. I'd like to be up to about 30. I think that's my happy spot. We'll find out. Because they trim my trees so that you can see the base of all of them, which there's a lot of things about that are good. for me, it's about half being pretty and half there's nowhere for something to hide out here. And that benefits the goats, because that's why I would want there to be nothing out here hiding. If I want something to hide, I want to be able to bring that out. And before I stop this video, there's my boys. They don't have names yet, but they're half brothers, as you can tell. One of them was a Jersey Giant mom, and the other one was a Barred Rock mom, and we only had one dad out here. The hybrid one right there is the Barred Rock. Is very friendly. The other one's very fearful of everything, but they're pretty good chickens. Well, cockerels, we'll call them that. They're teenage roosters. Yeah, so it's a good day to be out here working.